Last week, we learned about the energy of worship being an energy of connection. That everyone, no matter what their form of worship, is their way of connecting with God. And we should honor and respect every form. That is their personal choice. That is their path to awakening and realization. Remember last week we talked about the scripture in Malachi, where it said, one day when we find peace, every man will sit under his own fig tree and worship God in his own way. So I hope you thought about that as you walked this week. Ready? From Spirit. As sure as we eat, we all need to adore. We need to be fed by something greater, bigger, and more expanded than we are. For some of us, it's music. For some of us, it's games, sports. For some of us, it's beautiful things, cars, clothes, houses. Whatever makes your heart sing, we need to be fed by something greater. And when we are fed by something greater, we give our offerings. Worship is connection. We need to be spiritually fed. How do you worship? What do you connect with? How do you call forth your spiritual feeding? A long time ago, when I was just beginning as a spiritual leader, if you will, I was extremely young and extremely enthusiastic. I just loved God with all my heart and soul. I was a member of a church, and I was active in everything. Just, you couldn't stop me. I was just a little powerhouse. I loved God. I loved tithing. They made me the treasurer of their council because it was just, being one with God in all things was just such a part of me. And we had a church retreat. So a bunch of us went out and spent the weekend at one of the local, areas in North Georgia, Dahlonega. And during the retreat, the minister asked me to speak on tithing. Oh, I was so excited. I love this stuff. I love connecting with God. So she and her husband were there, and of course some of the members of the church were there, and there was a very well-known spiritual inspirational leader in Atlanta who happened to be a member of our church, and she was there. And so I got up in my great enthusiasm. I was just so enlightened. And I started talking about tithing, and I told the people this. I said, you tithe actually to whatever you worship, and you don't even know it. 10% of what you have coming into you goes out to what you worship. If you worship speedy cars, if you will willingly, without a thought, take at least 10% of your income to invest on speedy car magazines, speedy car stuff, watching speedy car videos. Do you see? If you worship lovely homes, you will willingly give more than 10% on pillows and trinkets. And do you see? And so I was explaining this beautiful thought that you already tithe, you already give. And I said, it is a reflection of your spiritual consciousness. If you spiritually believe that you are broken or unworthy, at least 10% of what you earn will go to fix everything that's breaking around you. Because you need to be spiritually fed at that level. So I gave my little talk, and I thought I did a really good job. I was so enthusiastic, and I felt really good about it. When I was finished, there were two frowns looking at me. The minister and the inspirational leader. And the rest of the membership just looked at me interesting, as that was an interesting thought. So no one gave me a hard time. And I, finished, they moved on, and I went to the minister, and she said, oh, you shouldn't have said that. I said, why not? I believe it to be true. And she said, oh, you just shouldn't have said that. And that was it. Never said another word about it. They didn't demote me or fire me or anything. But I got the message loud and clear. Don't cross that line. Do not cross that line that says tithing can occur with anything other than God. Do not cross that line. At the time, tithing was presented as a miracle magic wand. If you tithe, God will prosper you. That was the formula. Tithe and God will prosper you. That's how it was. Remember, this is a long time ago. And I have to tell you, it silenced me. It silenced me a lot. But I want to stand before you and tell you I still believe it. I believe that we need to connect with something to be spiritually fed. And if we're not connecting consciously with God, we will connect with stuff. We'll connect with something that will reflect back to us. What I was unaware of at the time, I was naive about the agreements that people forge to maintain their reality. And I want to say that again. The agreements that we forge to maintain our reality. So I want you to step out of these agreements for just a minute with me this morning. And go back into them if you want later. Doesn't matter to me. But I want you to kind of hear what I want to share with you. When you give to something that you want to spiritually feed you, do you realize what you're getting back? Your own love. When you buy a beautiful painting, and you hang it, what's reflected back to you? How much you love that painting. That's a good thing, isn't it? There's nothing wrong with that. We love to surround ourselves and feed ourselves. But what are we feeding ourselves with? Our own energy. Our own energy. It's a really fabulous thing. But there comes a time when we need to lift up and realize that worship and connection, maybe we do need to worship and connect with something bigger than that. Bigger than just our own energy. All right, in our seminary class, we've been studying Isaiah, and he makes a very interesting comment about the people of his day. This is prior to the destruction of Israel and Judah. And everybody's been worshiping idols. And he says, you guys have these idols, and you carry them on your back, and you pull them out and you polish them, and you keep them clean, and you protect them, and you make sure that they're taken care of. But what are they to you but a burden? And the only energy you're getting from the idols is the energy you're giving to the idols. You see? Now, I'm not saying your stuff is idolatry. I'm just saying, again, it's an example of our energy going out and reflecting back to us. When it's time for us to grow and get bigger, we need to grow and get bigger. So, partnering with God, including God in all of our worlds, being able to connect, worship and connect with something bigger than we are. This creates this beautiful space of mastery over matter. Mastery over matter. Have you ever wanted something beautiful for yourself and you went out and got it for yourself? Yes. Have you ever wanted something beautiful and had God give it to you? Yes. Do you know the difference in what it feels like? Oh, yes. I remember about 10 years ago, maybe 15 years ago, I was, crystals are all around us. And I had very few gems myself, but many crystals. And I just got this feeling I needed a peridot. I just wanted a peridot. Peridot has a faculty of moving you quickly through your current level of consciousness. And I said, oh God, I need a peridot. And so, I don't think I prayed to God for a peridot, but I just wanted a peridot in my heart. And I kept doing what I was doing, which is working a lot. We were in the middle of, I'm not sure what, but we were working day and night. We were going to have a garage sale to start generating money for the building fund to buy this place. It was late after a long, long day, and we got a call from one of our members who was moving to the West. And she said, I've got some boxes y'all can have for your garage sale the following morning. And Patrick and I looked at each other and went, oh my God, do we have time? God said go. So we drove to her house, which was far away, loaded up what we could carry, and she was giving us, take this box, take that box, take this box. So we got it to our house, and we had to sort all this stuff, and it's really late. And so we're trying to sort it for the sale the next day. And in the box, there was a ring. And it looked kind of like a ring you get out of a bubblegum machine. It was big and square. And Patrick said, oh no, that's a good ring. And I said, really? Oh, because it was interesting. He said, let's set that aside. So we set it aside, and I found a place, you go in and say, hey, what is this ring? And they say, no, you need to get an appraisal. We just don't give out information for free like this. So I made my little appointment. I went in one morning, and I showed them the ring, and I said, okay, what kind of ring is this? Is it bubblegum? And he said, actually, no. This ring is 100 years old. It's made with white gold, and those are little diamonds all around this big green stone. And it was a dark green stone. And he said, that looks like an emerald, but it's not. And he's looking at it and looking at it. He goes, this is a dark green peridot. I started crying right in his shop. I said, oh my God, a peridot. God brought me a peridot. I was overwhelmed with this treasure that God got for me. And you know, every time I look at it, what do I see? God. I see the love God had for me. And it's a 6-carat dark green peridot. Now, does God give in big ways? Yeah. God gives in big ways. This is something I of myself could not have created. This is something I of myself could not have manifested. But it's the idea of worshiping consciously God with this expanded awareness of greater. Worshiping God with greater. We live in a world where energy follows thought. You know, science is even proving you can have a thought here and have it picked up instantaneously by someone in Milwaukee just because they were connected in that thought somehow. How we know this. We know all the time we'll think of someone they'll call. I was just thinking about you 5 minutes ago when you were thinking about me. There's an instantaneous connection. We live in a world where our bodies, we can have a desire and the little filigrees start moving toward the magnet of our heart to try to manifest what we're asking for. That's how powerful our unique individual connection is. How powerful can that be when we connect with the divine, that greater ideal? We are connected with the world of matter already. Everybody breathe that in. We're already connected with this world of matter, and we're already connected with each other. Already connected with each other. Do you want to stay there? When you go to buy a computer, do you go to the guy and say, look, I need something that fits exactly what I've got going on right now. That's all I want. Just this. Or do you go in and say, no, give me something a little bigger so I can grow. As a matter of fact, I want a computer that knows what I'm going to need 5 years from now. Rerun. I want a computer that knows what I'm going to need 1 year from now. Because I don't know, but it already knows, and it's already ready for me to expand. That's how we buy our computers. Should be our relationship with God. God, don't fit in my world as it is. Don't come to maintain me. Come to expand me. Let me expand my world so the greater can move. You can have your stuff and you can have it reflected back to you. Or you can open and invest and have something greater. I wanted to share with you just a story from the Aquarian. This is in chapter 156. Jesus will be crucified on Friday, and today is Tuesday. He has been at the temple all day. There are several chapters of his exchange with the people in the temple, and he's arguing with them. And they're saying, no, no, and he's saying, yes, yes, and they're saying, no, no, and he's saying, yes, yes. And they're on him, and they just won't stop. And he's like, you know, you guys need to clean out the inside of the cup. You're living by all these laws. This is not working for you. You need to go inside and clear that. And they're not listening. Jesus looked about and said, Jerusalem, Jerusalem, thou cruel city of Jerusalem, that slays the prophets in the streets and kills the holy men who God has sent to you. Lo, I would have oft gathered you as children to the fold of God, but you would not. You rejected God, and now in your house it is desolate. And you will not see me again until you say, thrice blessed is the Son of Man who comes as the Son of God. And then, it says, Jesus went and sat beside the treasury and watched the people as they paid their tithe. And you wonder, okay, he's been arguing theology with these priests for hours. Now he's basically said, I'm done. And he goes and sits and watches the tithes. Interesting, isn't it? That that's what he chooses to do. The rich men came and gave of their abundance, and then he saw a poor but loyal widow come and put a farthing in the treasure box. And he said to his disciples, Behold, for this poor widow who has put a farthing in the treasury has done more than all they have. For she has given all she had. The rich have given just a share of what they have. That is an Interesting thought, isn't it? To give all we have. To give our heart. To let go of our attachment to matter. To give all we have to the idea of connecting with God. To give all we have to the idea of connecting with God. Agreements that maintain our earthly reality. We are so afraid of breaking them. Agreements that maintain our earthly reality. I wanted to share with you a story about a friend of ours. We hadn't seen Gary in a while. His name is Gary Graham, and he came to our house this week to work on some electrical stuff. And with his permission, I shared this story with you.